Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you are joining from. I am super excited to be with you all today because this is one of the most exciting updates we've had in Lumio. So thank you for being here, everyone. Today, we're going to be exploring the new look in delivery mode, our very new teacher-friendly UI walkthrough. So what's going to happen in just a moment here is I will introduce myself, and then we're going to get you guys logged in as students, and we're going to take a little bit of time exploring the new UI. I have mine on, which we'll talk a little bit about how you can turn it on or off for the time being because it's still in beta mode. So if this is your first time joining a lesson with someone who has this new delivery mode turned on, you'll notice that when you join my lesson as a student, the buttons might look just a little bit different, but no worries. By the end of today's webinar, you are going to feel comfortable using it once it is live for you. So let's get going. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mish, and I'm a learning and community designer here at Lumio. Prior to being here, I was a kindergarten, first grade teacher for Chicago Public Schools, and then I moved all the way to sunny Arizona to run away from the snow. I worked on my master's in curriculum and instruction and teacher leadership, and I absolutely love spending my time, all of my time, talking about all things education, ed tech, literacy, you name it. At the bottom of the screen there, I did put my Instagram handle and QR code. And the reason is in these short webinars, there's only so many different things I can tell you about all the many things that I love about Lumio. So if you're ever scrolling through your phone and you're like, hey, what else can I do? My Instagram has just a variety of 30 to 60-second clips there of what you can do with Lumio. All right, so here we go. What I'm going to have everyone do is go ahead and take a moment to join my class if you can. And what I mean by that is I want you to think about yourself as a learner. So if you are set up right now with two monitors, or you don't mind kind of flipping back and forth between two screens, go ahead and join the class. The instructions are in the chat as well as on the screen. So in the chat, you'll have direct join link, or right on the screen, you'll see that all you need to do is go to lumioclass.com. And then the class ID is 181461. 181461. Yes, perfect. I'm going to wait just another moment here. Looks like I've got 11 of you signed in here. Looks like I've got some folks from Snohomish. Hey, guys. All right, I'll wait just one more moment. Again, think about yourself as a learner. If you feel like, hey, you know what, it's easier for me to just sit back and observe for today. Reminder that all these webinars are recorded. So if you are watching live time, it means you registered, which also means you'll get the recording sent directly to you in a few days once it's edited. Otherwise, it'll also be posted onto our Lumio YouTube page as well. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So just to give you guys a quick agenda and overview of what we're going to be covering today. Today is going to be a pretty quick webinar. The goal is to just give you really quick bite-sized visual of what exactly is new in delivery mode. So the first thing I really want to talk about in just a moment here is why the change matters. I want to talk to you about why our Lumio team decided to make this change and how it actually was designed to really support your students. We're going to take a look at what the differences are in delivery mode, both as a teacher and a student. I'll give you guys some time to play around, see that all the buttons you already know are there. They just might be in a different spot and they're collapsible now. At the end, after we try it, I'm going to show you guys how to find beta mode, which this delivery mode at this time is in beta mode. It'll transition into the product over the summer. And then I'll also show you where you're able to give feedback if you have any ideas, comments, or concerns about the delivery mode. So like I said, let's get started with why our Lumio team decided to redesign the delivery mode. So we are always thinking about our students. Well, we're always thinking about, hey, how can we support instruction for our teachers? How do we make this as great as possible for everyone? We really want to think about how are we meeting the needs of all of our students? So first and foremost, the redesign of the delivery mode is going to now be compatible with screen readers. So if you've got any students that are using screen readers, this is now built to work seamlessly with any screen reader that they're going to be using. And that just makes it so much more accessible to all of our learners. In addition to the students that might be using assistive tech to support their day-to-day tasks. This will integrate with the tools that they're already using right now in the classroom. And then just for all of us, it is just a much more clean and more streamlined experience once you get used to it. I think all of us, when things change, even like when you have your phone and everything changes, the buttons might look different. It takes a moment to adjust. But once you kind of play around with it and you'll get used to it, you'll see that it really is a very streamlined experience. And even for students or even teachers that are using keyboard shortcuts, this new delivery mode is going to be much more friendly with keyboard shortcuts as well, which we'll talk a little bit more about towards the end of the call. All right, so I'm going to really quickly give you guys a bird's eye view of what the teacher delivery looks like and what's a little bit different. So if you're right now logged in as a student, come on back to just our call so that you can see my teacher screen. So if you're toggling back and forth here, come on back to where I am and I'll show you my view as a teacher. So you'll notice right now, I just have this one little toolbar and it just gives me a quick few little things that I might need. So if I need to zoom in, I have that option here. And then of course, I've got my page navigation. So it's really easy to turn the page, come on back, or I can also click on that number to scroll through the rest of my pages. Just like it was before, previously it was in the bottom left, right on the side, and now it's right here for me. But hey, where did all the other buttons go? You'll now see that you've got your little firefly in the bottom left corner. Again, we're just taking a look at my teacher's screen at the moment. And this is going to offer you a collapsible menu. So when you don't need it, you can close it. It's nice and out of your way. But if I click it, there are all the buttons that you've used before. So as a teacher, just starting at the top, I've got my hamburger menu. So I can click on here. That's where I'll go to end my session, edit. That's where I can get that share assignment link if I need my students to work asynchronously. So those are the exact same buttons that would have been there. It would have just kind of permanently been living in the top left corner before, but now it doesn't have to be there when I'm not needing to use it. Then I've got my two little people. I like to call that my class management button. So if I click on there, this is a pop-out menu with lots of different things that you might need. There's one thing that moved away from this menu, and I'll show you in just a moment. But when you click on your two little people, you get this pop-up here. From here, I can see that my session is live. I get that join info for my students. Same 3 different ways to join. You can always share the QR code if your students are on iPads or phones. You'll get your direct join link or those instructions. And then on the left here, I still have the option to show my class ID if I want that to live on my screen. I can change my lesson pacing from teacher mode to student mode. Again, if you don't know what that is, teacher mode essentially, as you are logged into my lesson, if I have students logged in with one-to-one devices, teacher mode keeps your students locked in on the page that you are on. And then once you're done with those instructional pages, if you want your students to be able to navigate through the rest of the file on their own, student mode will now allow your students to have access to the navigation bar to navigate through. And then once that independent time is over, when you click back on teacher mode, it'll send them right back to the page that you're on. Last but not least here, I can scroll through and see all of my students that are logged in with me. And then if I needed to edit to remove a student from a class, I have that option right here as well. I'm going to go ahead and close that window and just make sure that, okay, perfect. We've got Holly backstage here who's helping with any questions in the chat. Just wanted to make sure if I needed to address anything. Perfect. Okay. So one button previously that you might have had in the top left is being able to convert a page into an activity. That's something that I always really like to do on the fly versus while I'm planning. So if you've created a Lumio lesson before, when you're in editing mode, you've got your magic wand in the top right corner, usually in editing mode, that lets you convert a page into an individual handout, a whole class whiteboard, or a group workspace. Now you can definitely do that in advance, but I find myself with my teaching practice is I like to wait and do that on the fly because I like to give all of my instructions, all of my directions before I release my students to do an activity. We'll practice that in just a couple of moments. But if you didn't know that you could do that on the fly, or maybe you did, and hey, where did that button go? Because it used to live in the top left. Now it's down here. That magic wand is right there for you. So it looks just like the magic wand that you see when you're in editing mode. And when I click on that, you'll have just a little pop-up right here, a little side menu that opens up to convert any page into an individual handout, group workspace, or whole class whiteboard. We're going to practice this in just a moment here, but I just wanted to make sure you knew that button is still available in delivery mode. It just made a slight little move. And then in just a moment, we're also going to explore student mode, where you're going to be able to see that all the same tools you already know are still, like your writing tool. Now they're kind of little side opening menus here. You've got your eraser. You've got your different tools here. So your stickers, your image search, linking, recording audio, your math and chem type are also still here, but now they've been added to this little side menu under your tools button. And then as a teacher, I also have the ability right at the bottom under my converting a page, I also have the option to add an activity. So right from here, let's say we're in a lesson and hey, I'm wanting to maybe start something collaborative for my students. We're having a really great discussion and I would love to maybe give my students a different entry point to participate in a discussion. So right from here, I can quickly add a whiteboard, which will give everyone the ability to collaborate, a whole class whiteboard, a shouted out activity, or if I needed to add in a graphic calculator activity as well. Okay. I've done the last few minutes just talking. What I would love to do, you guys have been looking at my teacher screen. I am going to explore student side, but let me just take a quick pause because I see lots of comments coming in. Luke is asking a pretty good question. Is there any way to have speaker notes with the Lumio presentation? Luke, at the time, no, but I want you to stay tuned, Luke, because at the end, I'm actually going to show you where you can go to offer feedback to our Lumio team. And the focus for today was going to be offering feedback on this new delivery mode. But hey, your question has to do with delivery mode. So I'm going to show you exactly where you can submit your idea to our Lumio team. And then they can maybe put that into a future update as well. I think the rest should be all good. To join my class ID, I think it should be in the chat, but I'm going to pull it up right onto the screen here. To join my lesson, there is the link right on the screen, or you can go to lumioclass.com, select join as the guest, and my code is 181461. Now would be a good time if you are able to join the class because we're going to take some time playing around. All right, so in just a few moments, we're going to explore playing in student mode. Like I mentioned in the first half of the webinar here is I have my beta mode turned on, which I'm going to show you how to turn it on later on, which means that right now, both my side and your side are showing this new user interface. Right now, the user face is still in beta mode, which means it's optional for you to have until it fully comes in for everyone over the summer. So at the end, I'll show you how you can either turn it on or turn it off. But right now, since I have it turned on as the teacher, since you've joined my class, for you as the student, it should be showing it for you as well. All right, so in just a moment here, the goal is that we're going to kind of take a look and explore as students to take a look at all the options that you know are still there. They might just look a little bit different. So like I mentioned a moment ago, I really like to convert activities while I'm already presenting with my students because I want to make sure that you guys have all the instructions, all the information you need before I convert that activity. Reminder that I can collapse this menu here to see that I've got my magic wand. And I'm going to go ahead and convert this page into an individual handout, which means all of you are going to get your own copy of this activity. So now that I've converted it on your screen, it's going to give you the option to join. And then on my side as the teacher, I have a dashboard to see what is going on. So I can see that a few of you have already started. And I know that because your name will be bolded for me versus grayed out. And the three kind of moving little dots looks like you're busy at work. What I can also do is go to teacher handout. So if I need to demonstrate what the activity is to my students, I have the option to do that as well. So now that I've converted it, you should have access to your student toolbar. And I want you to find all the buttons you love. You already know they're already there. Every column I have is going to ask you to find a different feature that you've already used in Lumio. Now, really quick, can I ask everyone to take a quick pause? Take a look at my screen really quick. And something that we are working on with Lumio is widgets that are in delivery mode for the teacher at this time. There are some widgets that are already available for everyone, and there are some that are just in beta mode, which again, I'm going to show you at the end how to turn on your beta mode. But what I'm going to do is click on my toolbar. This is again going to just be on my side as the teacher in delivery mode. And I have a little toolbox here. And one of my options here is a timer. So I'm going to just move my timer to the corner here. I'll make it a little smaller. You won't see this on your screen as a student, but I'll see it on mine as the teacher. And I'm going to just set this to 1.5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and start that timer. So if everyone could just take a moment, read each of the prompts, and then find those buttons that you already know in your student toolbar. And then once that 1.5 minutes is over, I'll show you a couple different things you might not know that you can do as a teacher once your students are done working on an individual handout. All right, just 30 seconds here to go. The first one, you're looking and finding the emojis. The second one, I'd love for you to find an image that represents your current mood or your teaching style. So find that image safe search. The third one there, I want you to find your audio feature, which is a really great way for students to engage if perhaps typing maybe isn't their forte. And the last one, go ahead and find your typing tool. All right, timer is finished. Take another, let's say 5 seconds. Finish up your last thoughts. All right, come on back to our call so that you can now see my teacher screen. And I'll show you what I can now do as a teacher once my students are completed with an individual handout. Everyone come on back to the call here. And I'm going to drop down my teacher activity again to see my student dashboard. So again, just a couple of things. I'm going to drop and click on this little firefly here to make that toolbar go away so that I can have a better view of what's going on with my students. So again, I can see who's finished, who's working, and maybe who's not on task. If you're finished, you would have hit that done button. By the way, some of you did find that done button on your screen. And one way that I really like to use that done button, other than just saying, hey, Mish, I'm done, is I'll ask my students, if you're feeling brave today and I can show your work on the screen, go ahead and hit that done button because you'll see that it shows me that green check mark indicating that you've clicked that button. For those of you that are at work, your name will be bolded and your 3 dots will be moving. And for any students that maybe are not on task, their name will be grayed out. So just a couple things you can do here is I'm going to go ahead and click on Holly. She's hit that green check mark there for me. And we can take a look at what Holly is doing. So Holly looks like she brought the heart eye emojis for how you're feeling about the new delivery mode. For the image, this is how you're feeling, your current mood or your teaching style. That definitely is my teaching style. Like, I don't know, a little hectic, but exciting. That's how I'm interpreting that image. And then Holly did bring in some audio. And again, I really like using the audio on the student side of things for a number of reasons. A, typing or writing maybe is not for everyone. For me, for example, I'm not so great at typing an essay, but if you ask me to talk about something that I have knowledge on, that might be something that's one of my strengths. Or even if any of you are foreign language teachers, anything like that, that is a really great way to apply that to a digital lesson. And then also, let's see, Holly did find the text option and wrote, I noticed that the toolbar collapses with the firefly button. I wish I could move the toolbars around on the screen. Oh, that's a really good piece of feedback that Holly added. So in just a moment, we're going to show where you can add your feedback and show it to the Lumio team. So from here, in case you didn't know, what I can do now that I'm in an individual handout is I can actually grab a sticker or some text. And when I add that to the screen, I'm having some silly internet today, but we're hoping that maybe Holly sees that on her screen, is I've added that emoji and only Holly would see that in her student view. I'm now going to drop my individual handout, and there's an exciting feature that is partially in beta, partially out of beta. It's a new feature, and it was one of the most requested features that we had. If you guys are part of our Lumio Facebook group, which we're going to share with you at the end, also how you can join it if you're not yet. One of the most frequently requested features was, hey, I love doing individual handouts with my students. Is there a way that I can export those as a PDF? And you can now. So what I can do now is you'll see this button at the top right corner that says Export PDF. I'm going to click on that here. And when I click on it, I have a couple options. I have right now all of my students selected, so I could download that PDF and it'll give me all of my student work, or maybe I'm getting ready for parent-teacher conferences or an IEP meeting, and maybe I just need to see, let's see, Fran and maybe Holly and maybe Chris. And then I can download that and only those 3 students would be selected. That was just my short little tidbit on individual handout because there are a couple of changes in there which I thought were super exciting. Thanks everyone for participating in a quick little activity. I just want to make sure I gave everyone time to see that all of your tools that you and your students already know are still there. They just might be in a different location. All right, so now a lot of what is being changed currently in Lumio specifically is because we're trying to make Lumio so much more accessible to every kind of student. So on the screen here, you'll see 2 different one-pagers that our team has put together. And those you can click on. We'll also share those out as well. If you're in the lesson, you can actually click on both. Those are 2 separate one-pagers. And one is going to be for designing Lumio lessons for your students that use screen readers. So that one's it's called the one-pager, but it's 2 pages because there is just so much good information that we can tell you about how you can specifically design in Lumio to make it as compatible as possible for your students that do rely on a screen reader. And then that second one-pager that we've created is keyboard shortcuts. For a lot of our students that use its assistive tech or do rely on their keyboards to navigate through a lesson, we've created this one-pager here that shows you the different shortcuts that will work for you and your students while using Lumio. So those are 2 important handouts, and Holly is so amazing, and those are now in the chat for you. Holly, by the way, is the one that created these, and she is a wizard. So thank you, Holly, for that. All right, here we go. So everything I've shown you so far at this time is in beta mode. What does that mean? I said beta like 100 times. I'm going to actually pop out of where you can turn it on. So for those of you that are navigating between being in our webinar and also being in student mode, what I'm going to ask you right now is just come on over to the webinar and stay with me here for just a few moments because I'm going to show you a few different things that you're going to want to explore later as a teacher. Now, remember, if I'm moving a little bit too quickly, this whole webinar is being recorded for you and it's going to be emailed to you. Since you're here today, it means you registered, so you'll get that directly to your email in a couple of days. And it also is going to be posted to our YouTube channel. So just come on over, take a look at what I'm doing here, and I'm going to show you what you can do. So again, collapsible menu with the Firefly. And as a teacher, I'll click on my hamburger menu and click End Session. And take a look at that. It asks me right away for feedback on my experience with delivery mode. So that's one way that you can give feedback, but I'm going to show you something else here. I'm going to just quickly close that. I also used widgets, and I also used the export PDF. So it really wants my feedback on all 3 of those beta features that I used. So here's what we're going to do. On any screen that you're on in Lumio, whether you're in your class sessions tab, you're in your My Library tab, what you can do is click in the top right corner where you have, it's either your initials, mine is my picture, but you're going to click on yourself in the top right corner and you'll get this drop down menu and you'll have a button that says Lumio Beta. Now, I've already joined Lumio Beta, so mine says About Lumio Beta. If you haven't yet, yours will say join Lumio Beta. So if you click on that, you'll get a little pop-up that says join. And if you're not sure which options or which features right now are available in beta, you can go ahead and click on list of features and it'll take you to show you what's there right now. For example, right now, some of those widgets, remember I showed you where you can find your widgets as a teacher and delivery mode. And some of those widgets are already available for everyone and some of them are still in beta. The ability to export your individual handouts, part of it got moved into everyone. It's available for everyone. So everyone can now export, but the being able to select individual students is still partly in beta. So that's one of those things. And then, of course, what are we all here for? We're talking about the UI, the user interface right now is in beta. And the reason right now it's in beta is our Lumio team really loves to hear your feedback, especially because this is such a big change. We want to make sure that we're able to test it out first, get some feedback and apply it. But also it's the end of the school year and we didn't want to drop this giant change on you and students before the end of the school year. So you have the option right now, whether if you'd like to use it or not. And then over the summer, it's going to move in to full product, which means it's going to be available for everyone and you will not be able to go ahead and turn it off. Okay. So this is where you go to turn on beta and then you can turn it on, turn it off as you please. I'm going to go ahead and click cancel. Another important thing I'm going to show you is exactly where we just were in the top right corner where we clicked on our little name or our picture. You also have a question mark. If you click on that question mark, you'll have this menu that pops up. And one of those options is you've got request a feature. So I think was it Luke? Luke, you had an idea that you wanted to share about presentation notes. So you might click on request a feature. And then what you'll be able to do is it'll bring you out. You'll sign in using your school district credentials, or you can sign in with your personal email address and you can submit that feedback. And then what you can do is share. It makes a link for you. You can share that with your colleagues and they can go and upvote your idea. And then our Lumio team does take a look at that. It's kind of like a discussion board to see what's going to happen next. In general, if you've got feedback for Lumio, there's a provide feedback option. But specifically right now, we've explored a lot of our beta features. So you do have a specific button just for beta feedback. Again, this is where you're going to want to go and say, hey, this was really neat. I remember Holly said she had a good idea in there. Holly wanted to share. I wish I could move that toolbar around. So Holly would go and click on beta feedback and say, hey, I really like this new toolbar for the new delivery mode, but I do wish I could move it around. And maybe Holly would even share why, because as a teacher, it's important that we share like how that would help our instruction to help our Lumio team understand why this change would be beneficial to not just Holly, but to teachers across the globe. All right. How are we doing? Any questions I need to answer in the chat? All good. Thank you. Holly is being the best sidekick today. Appreciate you. All right. So what I'm going to do is pop back over to my class sessions and I'm going to click back into here. And really quick, we are going to jump into our resources. All right. So I know today has been quite a quick one, but I want you to know that no matter what, there's always so many options for you to keep learning with Lumio. Starting on the right side of the screen, if you didn't know yet, but our academy did get fully revamped. It's hosted on a new platform now. And so if you'd like to take any academy courses, we have a variety of getting started with Lumio. We have using AI in Lumio. We have a way for you to become a Lumio level 1 educator in there. So there's lots of different courses you can take in our academy. You do get a certificate at the end and the ability to log it as a PD hour, which is really neat. We also have a variety of webinars. We have some planned through the end of the school year. And then there's going to be, and I just realized I didn't put this into the end of my deck, but giving you guys a little bit of a sneak peek here. If you are new to Lumio or if you're a returning user, every summer in July, we do the coolest thing. And for 2 days, 2 full days, we have sessions from educators all over the world for an event called Lumio Palooza. It's 2 full days, virtual PD, provided just by educators all over the world, all different kinds of sessions. This year, that's going to be on July 14th and 15th. And I see Holly looking around. I have a feeling like maybe she's going to drop the link. Yes, thank you, Holly. There is a link for you in the chat on Lumio Palooza. And that is where you can go to take a look. We are still also accepting until tomorrow, end of day, if you'd like to present. We've got some cool incentives to present. You do get 5 credit hours that you can log as PD if you present. You can present on using Lumio for math, Lumio for science, SEL, how you use it in your classroom. So that's going to be this summer, July 14th and 15th. Again, we're accepting applications to present through tomorrow. And then once we have our schedule released, we're also going to be taking registration as well for that 2-day event. Next, I'll chat with you about our Lumio YouTube. On the YouTube, there is going to be a variety of 2 to 3 minute clips on how-tos in Lumio. For example, how to join the beta channel, how to use different things in Lumio. And then also all of our webinar recordings live there as well. And I'm going to jump over here to the next page because if you're not yet part of our ambassador community, this is a place you're going to want to be, especially with all the many different changes that we have going on in Lumio. Our ambassador community is a place you can go to connect with folks from all over the world that are using Lumio. That's where you can go to make sure you're staying in the know of all the different changes that are going on. We've got ambassador exclusive webinars, and it's also just a great discussion board if you've got questions or you're just feeling like, hey, I'd love to join a community of other folks that are using the same program as I am. So in the chat there, Holly did just drop the application to become an ambassador if you are not one yet. And with that, I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, so much for being here. And just a reminder that we really, really love your feedback, especially on any of those features that are available in beta mode. So on the screen there and in the chat in a moment, you'll see a survey link for today's webinar. If you'd like to receive a certificate for the webinar, you'll complete that survey. But also don't forget, if you click on that question mark in the top right corner of your Teacher Lumio screen, you'll be able to go in and offer feedback as well on the new delivery mode interface for our product team as well. So with that, thank you all so much for being here. We've got a couple more webinars happening this school year. And then don't forget Lumio Palooza, July 14th and 15th. We'll see you there. Thanks, everyone.